So what we're going to talk about today is the importance of having a trading plan. And it's not just for consistency, but it's also for confidence. And well, many of you may not think that confidence plays a role in your trading, but trust me, after listening to this episode, you're going to see just how important it really is. I say this all the time. I haven't done it this week, but whenever we're having discussions in the live room, we're sharing ideas, I always tell our traders, I say, be as detailed as possible. So, and again, you guys are new, so I don't expect you to know this, but when we share an idea in here, we don't just say like, hey, long dollar yen, because that doesn't really help anyone out. Cody will come in like yesterday where he'll be like, hey guys, long dollar yen, pullback trade back to the 133, even handle, took a higher high, higher close, stops one ATR below the low, looking for targets at 138.90. And what that allows us to do is, because we do want to share ideas, we do want to see different opinions. And again, you'll remember Cody sharing this yesterday. It allows, if I'm on some type of rant or talking about something else, it allows our traders to actually go to that chart and kind of see and visualize what the trader's talking about. So they can be like, hey, okay, we had a pullback. Yep, there's that higher high, higher close. His stops are down there. Boom. And then it allows us to learn and kind of see different ideas. And that's really good in the trader development and growth process, because we do all trade slightly differently, right? We may see the exact same things and approach it in a different way, where someone may be waiting for a double bottom, someone may be waiting for a pin bar, someone may be waiting for a 3-bar reversal. We all look for different areas and targets where it's like, hey, why did you choose that level? Then we can get on with a good discussion on which level of structure. And sometimes that helps beautifully, because sometimes we'll find a level of structure or a certain level that we didn't even pay attention to. So Cody may type in, or Orsi may type in, hey, I'm looking for 139.84s. And we're like, why? And what about the structure at 189.70s? And she's like, oh crap, I didn't even see that. Okay, yeah, okay, I need to make that adjustment. So we want to be as detailed as possible. So if you can, if you're, see these still, and I'll tell you this, and this is not to poke fun, Andy, but can you guys tell the difference? Let me ask you this, Andy. Do you have a solid trading plan? Like a solid completed trading plan? And again, I'm not poking fun or anything, but I think this could be a good example. Do you have a completed trading plan? Not. Talking to Andy, but not yet. I don't expect most of you to have it. No. It takes a while. That doesn't answer the question, Andy. Don't avoid it. It's a yes or no question. The more you give me answers that don't actually answer the question, the more I start to assume what the answer is. But the interesting thing, and to get off, I don't want to put pressure on Andy, but the interesting thing is, right, you can tell the difference with a trader who has a completed trading plan versus the trader who has maybe a trading idea. They have an idea of how they trade. They know what they want to trade, but maybe not necessarily a trading plan. And you can tell the difference in the details of the answer. Am I right, guys? Yeah, you can tell the difference in the detail. And what's interesting about that is it's confidence as well. Because I don't want to speak for you. Again, I'm just using an example. But so when I ask and I'm like, hey, do you have a trading plan? The answer is no, right? And we know it's no. But do we come out and say no? No, we try to say something else that can kind of push the conversation along. We're a little bit nervous. We're a little bit maybe embarrassed. We're not really as confident as we could be, right? We try to justify it, where it's like, hey, do you have a fully completed trading plan? Well, no, I follow this person's trading plan. That doesn't answer the question. I have rules on how to enter. That doesn't answer the question, right? If you were truly confident, you would say yes. And you see the difference in how people answer questions, where you can ask, again, going back to a simple example, right? If we're looking for a trading opportunity, Akil, how are you looking to take this trading opportunity? Well, if we get a break and close above our current level of structure at 138.17, then I'm going to look for a pullback. If I get a pullback, watch for that RSI to go oversold below the 20. If we get an RSI oversold and we get a higher high, higher close candle, enter next bar market. Stops goes 1 ATR below the low of the swing. Targets go up at the 139, or what would we say, 139.50 level, right? Do you see how confident that was? Was there any gray area in that? If price action breaks and closes above our current level of structure, then look for pullback. If we get pullback in the previous structure, wait for the RSI to go oversold. Oversold is defined by being below 20. If RSI goes oversold, then look for higher high, higher close candlestick formation. If we get higher high, higher close candlestick formation, enter market order long 2 units, stops go 1 ATR below the lows, option to go 2 ATR and adjust per structure if needed. Targets go at 139.50 or 139.47, 3 pips below the even handle number, right? Boom, right? Solid trading plan or solid explanation. And I don't expect you guys to type all that in. That's a paragraph. But solid explanation. Why? Because it's 100% rules based. And I do it all the time. But more importantly than it relaying the message to you guys exactly what I'm doing, how confident did that sound? Did that sound very confident in that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing in this trade? Or did it sound like, here's another example, right? Well, Akil, how are you going to attack this trade? Well, if we get above the highs, then maybe I'll look for a pullback, and usually I want to see the RSI go oversold, and typically I'll look for a higher high, higher close with an ATR somewhere below the lows, and the targets maybe at the 139.50 level. So one was very confident. One was still okay rules based. There's some holes in there, but not as confident. And why this is important is because confidence is key. Because I don't know, let me ask you guys this and give me a yes. How many of you guys have ever executed a live trade? It doesn't have to be a good trade, but you actually executed a live trade in the market. Give me a yes. Now, another second question for you. Is there a difference between how you felt before entering the live trade and after entering the live trade? Like, once you actually push that button, it's hard enough to push the button. Sheesh. Let's not even talk about that. It's hard enough just to have the confidence to push the button. But it's a whole different story once you're in the trade, right? It's like asking someone out on a date, right? You got to build up all this confidence to ask the person out on a date. It's so hard just to ask someone out. You got to get your voice right. You got to get your hair good. Hey, you practicing? Hey there. Hey, right? It's so hard. And then you finally get all the confidence to ask that person out on a date. Hey, right? That sounded awkward, but you finally get that confidence to ask that person out on the date, or just like spark a conversation with them, right? And then they say, "Hey, back," and then you're like, "Oh crap! Now I got to hold a conversation." And some of you guys are probably better than others. I'm not great at like small talk. So like I hate conversations. Like I can talk trading and sports all day, but when it comes to like small talk conversation, like it's extremely nervous for me. I'm like, okay, now we actually have to hold a conversation. What do I do? And I'm flipping out, and I'm worried about not making a mistake. It's the same thing in the market. Now, once you've said hey to the market and you've entered that trade, now you got to hold a conversation with it. Now you're in it. And if you're not confident, and when we've seen the people that are confident, the ones like my best friend is he's confident in talking to the ladies. He's got a game plan. He knows exactly what he's going to talk about, exactly what he's going to ask them. He is good. I am bad. I'm like, hey, so sports? How about that CPI report? 8.7. Yeah. Inflation. Start throwing out words that I hope they respond to. But it's a whole different story. Once you're in the trade, if you're not confident, this is when all those mistakes come, right? We know that most traders fail because of the psychological mistakes, and most psychological mistakes are greed and fear. And why do greed and fear come? Well, they come from lack of confidence. Is there any reason to be fearful in a trade? No, not if you're confident. But if you're not confident, then you're like, oh, this red candle's forming. Maybe I was wrong. This is going to lose, right? So that lack of confidence carries over into the live markets. And it's why most of us make mistakes when trading live. We deal with all these emotions. We get scared when the market's going against us, and we either have to get out before it gets too bad, or we avoid it getting too bad by moving our stop loss back, and then it eventually just gets worse, right? That's always a fun one. I'm gonna push this pain off by just moving that stop loss down, and then you just get more pain. It's like when you're a kid and you do something bad, and then you don't want your parents to catch you, so you hide it from your parents, and then they always find out, right? They find out like 2 weeks later, and you get in worse trouble because it's been 2 weeks, and you're like, darn it, that was a bad decision, right? I never understood. Well, I understand it completely. It just makes no sense. But that you don't take targets early because you're confident in your analysis to identify the next key level. So you're not up like $2 and now you're taking money out and you watch the market go up 100 more points, right? So that confidence carries over into the market. So it's important for so many levels, not just the consistency of execution, that you have a fully developed trading plan and rules of engagement. But when you have it, you're more confident in the market. When you're more confident in the market, you're less likely to make those mistakes that will ultimately take your money from you. So that's why we're so passionate about this issue, because it really is a game changer in your trading, one way or another. You just gotta pick what side you're gonna be on. Now, I know I missed Charles has been there. MACD, RSI, fibs. Please let one of these words stick.